Today on the program, we'll begin with the flood situation in Borno State, as Vice President Kashim Shettima visited the state for on-the-spot assessment of the ravaging flood. Earlier today, thousands of residents of Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, fled their homes following a devastating flood that washed most parts of the state. The flood, which is as a result of the collapse of the Alau Dam, has claimed markets, hospitals, schools and residential houses. Senior reporter Jesse Tafida has details in the story.
An early morning flood caught residents of Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, unawares. The flood waters brought most parts of the metropolis on its knees. Residential areas, shops, hospitals, markets, schools and bridges were submerged. Many residents try to save what they could as the water level increases. Others flee to relatively safer areas as fast as they could. The state government has since commenced evacuation of victims of the flood disasters as they are being provided temporary shelters. Though the government is yet to issue an official statement on number of casualties, it advises residents to ensure their safety. The floods, as a result of Alau Dam collapse, has washed most parts of the state, a situation residents say occurred sometime in 1994. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
Well, our senior reporter Jesse Tafida has been monitoring the Maiduguri flood situation all day. He will be joining us any moment now for more on that, especially regarding the emergency visit by Vice President Kashim Shettima, who is on the spot assessment of the situation there. Let's now turn attention to Edo State, where it's about 11 days to the governorship election. Political parties are jostling to get the minds of Edo residents with word-to-word campaign to solicit their support on who takes over the Dennis Osadebe Avenue. Interestingly, the succession battle for seat will be among the three major political parties in the state: the governing People's Democratic Party, the opposition All Progressives Congress, and the Labour Party. We'll take a look at the intrigues ahead of the election. Lawyer and public affairs analyst, OSA Director, joins me on the program. Good to have you join us on the program today. It's exactly 11 days to the election. What is your evaluation of the campaign climate in Edo State?
Thank you very much, Bosse, for having me this evening. As usual, you know, Edo State is the heartbeat of the nation. So, essentially, it comes with its own peculiar style of campaigning, intrigues, and horse trading. So far, so good. It has been an issue-based campaign, a three-horse race between the All Progressive Congress, People's Democratic Party, and the Labour Party. And all of them have their strength and weaknesses. You know, for the All Progressive Congress, at the federal level, they are in power and you have a power of incumbency. And at the state level, the PDP is in government and also trying to exercise their power of incumbency. And for the Labour Party, they are banking on the rave of the moment then, that is the obedient movement. One would say, from the point of a strategic observer, that I'm quite impressed with the quality of campaigning by the various parties until Mrs. Betty Obaseki came to pollute the whole political atmosphere by engaging in campaign of calumny and name calling. You know, where he referred to the candidates of APC and the Labour Party as people who are not married and therefore incapable, incompetent, and unable to govern Edo State. Therefore, people should queue behind the candidate of the People's Democratic Party. And sadly, the media has a kind of skewed media framing to the extent now that people are blaming Senator Adams Oshomole, for referring to the First Lady as childless. But the issue is, who crossed the red line? It was the First Lady. And before that time, did Oshomole anyone ever spoke about the private challenges of the Obaseki? The answer is no. And personally, Oshomole did what any responsible and committed party chieftain should do, which is to defend the integrity and the position of his party. It's a case of, you taka me, I double you. She threw the first stone, and Oshomole responded in kind. So it will be unfortunate, it will be sad, it will be reprehensible for the media or whoever to begin to say, oh, Oshomole is wrong, and Oshomole is calling the woman childless. But the issue is that
Mr. Director,
the woman was the first to throw the first stone. And in
Mr. Director,
opinion, she deservedly got what she got in response from Oshomole. So
Mr. Director, are you saying then, let me come in please, Mr. Director. Are you saying then that we should all go dirty because something came from a party that wasn't palatable? Should everyone then toe that line? Does that justify the response that's been coming?
No. I don't believe in dirty politics. But what I'm saying is that Oshomole made a one-off response to her, and that's the end of the story. It is the media and even the PDP that are trying to whip up flabby sentiments, trying to capitalize on what Oshomole said and saying that they want to mobilize women to vote against the APC, because he referred to the woman as a childless. If they mobilize the women, can the APC also mobilize all the unmarried men and the divorced men to also vote against PDP? But as far as I'm concerned, that statement has been made and it has been responded to by Oshomole, and that's the end of the matter. So the media and the PDP should not continue to dwell on it and whip a flabby sentiment. That's the point I'm trying to make.
You've said
I'm not saying I encourage dirty politicking.
All right. You've said this campaign has been about issues, and those issues really are what I'm looking for. But this last description, this analogy you've given, I don't know if that fits into the issue or should be part of the issues, really, because by issues we should be talking about development of Edo State. We should be talking about health, talking about education, talking about security, and every other thing that should bring good dividends of democracy to the people. What do you say?
Yes, like I said, that was just a one-off slip, and we have moved beyond that. I think everybody's right on track now, all the political parties, to campaign on the basis of issues. And I'm also sure all parties learned their lesson from that slip and incident. So for now, we want to drill all the candidates, let them tell us what they have to offer. The Labour Party, the All Progressive Congress, and the People's Democratic Party. Let them tell us their program, and let them sell themselves to us based on their pedigree. So we are encouraging politics, issue-based politicking. And I think all Edo people are wise enough to know the difference between black and white, and to also know those who are just peddling information that they cannot sustain. So I will expect a situation where the electorate will put the candidates to task and the party to task to tell us what they want to achieve, the program they want to achieve. And we should even go beyond this style of making general statements. You will see a politician telling you, or a candidate telling you, I'm going to generate 10,000 employments. And he moves on and people clap for him. How do you want to generate the 10,000 employment? Let's dwell on the specifics. So these are the issues I want the electors to take on. To take the candidates on and say, please give us the specific way and manner you are going to implement your programs that you are selling to us. So it is an issue-based campaign we want, and it's an issue-based campaign that we are encouraging. So far, so good.
And those are the issues, Mr. Director,
are doing fairly well.
Those are the issues we seek, to really address. Let's not underplay what has happened, these past few days, but that is not the real issue. So let's get into the real issue now. Parties and their candidates in this election are expected to sign the peace accord on Thursday. That's just 2 days away. How impactful has this peace deal been in the past in ensuring a peaceful and credible electioneering process?
Well, specifically in Edo State, we've not really had issues of violence in the past. Of course, you cannot have a 100% violence-free election. Maybe pockets of incidents here and there. But generally speaking, on the aggregate, it's always been a peaceful election. And we expect that this 2024 election, September 21st, will not be different from what we had in the past. As a matter of fact, we want an improvement on that, on what has happened in the past. We don't want any pocket of incident of violence at all, even though the issue involving the deputy governor of the state, who was declared validly as the deputy governor of the state, Philip Shaibu, when he was coming from Abuja, and there was this attack with the PDP street urchins, you know. But I think the police have also adequately taken care of that. And like I said, we believe that the election on September 21st will be peaceful before, during, and after.
And staying with security, during the last election in 2020, police deployed about 31,000 personnel for that exercise. What do you expect this year?
That is the challenge or the beauty of an off-cycle election. You know, when off-cycle elections are taking place, it's like we are in a war zone. War zone in the sense that when you see the deployment of security officers, you can imagine 31,000 policemen descending or converging on Edo State. And you have a high number of DSS, National Security and Civil Defense Corps, and even the Nigerian Army. Sometimes I want us to downplay the influence and impact of security forces on the election. But like you know, this is a developing country, and it comes with its own baggage in terms of promoting the virtues of democracy and the rule of law. You will still find some non-conformists trying to perpetuate violence. So I appreciate the fact, and I understand the reason data behind the deployment of high number of police officers and security officers to the state. On the 21st of September, I will expect a higher number of police officers and security personnel, because for one, the more you see security officers and personnel around, the more confident the electorates have to go to the polling stations to go and exercise their franchise, because they know that they will be adequately protected. So I'm expecting a higher number of police officers during the period.
Well, there are other aspects of this election we will be talking about, but we'll take a break, and then when we return from that break, we'll get to discuss these issues regarding the Edo State governorship election, which is only 11 days away. For staying with us on the program, it's a countdown to the Edo State governorship election, which is only 11 days away. And my guest is lawyer and public affairs analyst, OSA Director. Mr. Director, let's talk about preparations ahead of this election. INEC chairman is in Edo State. Mock accreditation has taken place. How ready do you think the commission is?
Okay. Firstly, I want to say that I'm a lawyer and a journalist. First of all, I'm a journalist before I became a lawyer. So, public affairs commentator, okay, but I like being referred to as a journalist and a lawyer because I'm proud of my profession of journalism. That is by the wayside, you know. I want to believe that because it is an off-cycle election, the INEC will have no reason to say they are not prepared. And sincerely speaking, I think from their pronouncement, one will expect them to conduct a credible election. But when you just oppose it against what happened in the past, we still have areas we want them to improve upon. If you make promises to the electorate, then you should be able to execute it. If you are saying people will be accredited by the beavers, and then you are going to upload the result real time, then you should make sure it is done real time. They should not make promises that they cannot keep. But I expect that they have the capacity, they have the capability to conduct a free and fair election in Edo State.
Importantly also, Mr. Director, we need to talk about the conduct of political parties, of their candidates and their loyalists. Based on what has been happening in Edo State, what do you perceive to be the attitude of these people, and what are your expectations from them as we go into the polls?
Sincerely, you find out that when you are talking about the challenges of democracy, the tendency is for us to heap all the blames on state actors. But you must also look at the followers, the civil society, you know, and you see a huge gap, a disconnect between them and what you expect of them in terms of conducting yourself within the ambits of the law, conducting yourself to promote the virtues and principles of democracy and the rule of law, to promote transparency and accountability in governance. You find out that you have a lot of people, because of their partisan disposition, they are not willing to see anything done wrong by the candidates that they support. That's not what it's supposed to be. As Nigerians, our primary responsibility is to ensure that we promote and encourage programs and policies by government that will lead to creating an enabling environment for every one of us to thrive within the best of our capability, you know, and opportunities made available to us and to everyone by the government. But that is not the issue here in some cases. Restricting myself to Edo State, so far so good. I think the three leading candidates, they've been conducting themselves in what I call decent manner. But we have incident of some of their supporters, like I referred to this incident that happened between the Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu and the supporters of the incumbent Governor Godwin Obaseki. But I also want to believe and pray that that should be a one-off kind of misdemeanor on the part of the supporters of the People's Democratic Party, and then even the APC should cage themselves and should restrain themselves from descending to the level of exchanging words and physical combat. I mean engaging in physical combat with their opponents. I think the Labour Party, so far so good, have not been indicted in any form of violent conduct as far as this coming election is concerned. The challenge has been between the two contending major parties, that is the APC and the PDP. But I believe that in Edo State, we are capable of conducting ourselves within the universally acceptable standard of civilization and decency.
All right, Mr. Director, let's look at another, angle to this now. The recent hike in the price of petrol. Of course, it's generated, different reactions. Do you see it impact the conduct of this election in any way?
Certainly. I think it's a disservice by the federal government to have announced that increment at the time it did, when they have an election coming up in Edo, and later in November in Ondo. Edo State electorate are very perceptive, just like every Nigerian, and they are sensitive to what happened at the national level. And they will tell you, from the way I've been interacting with people, they say, you want to bring APC government to Edo State when they are the one that's increasing the fuel price and making conditions very unbearable for the people of the country to survive. So I believe and I know that the increase in fuel price is going to impact on this election. The APC, if they want to get to Sadebi Avenue, they have to redouble their effort and ensure that they are able to convince the people that the fuel hike will be reversed. if not reversed. For me, I want it reversed. If not reversed, it will be the last, and the money made from such hike will be put into the development, addressing the infrastructural deficit across the country. However, there's no going to say the fact that the fuel price hike is going to impact the decision of the electorate in Edo State. They are Nigerians, and they are being subjected to all kinds of indignities and deprivation as a result of the parlous state of the economy. And that is certainly going to impact on the way they respond and vote on September 21st.
And finally, Mr. Director, the Edo State government has directed all schools to remain shut until further notice as a result of the petrol price hike. Well, the APC has described that as expensive political gimmickry. What is your take? You have about 30 seconds to respond to that. Mr. Director, did you get the question? I'm asking about the decision of the Edo State government to shut all schools until further notice as a result of the petrol price hike. The APC has described that expensive political gimmickry. What do you say? You have about 30 seconds to respond to that, please. All right, then we lost connection with Mr. Director there, but it's been great talking to him and the build-up to the Edo State governorship election. Also, our director is lawyer, journalist, public affairs analyst. Well, that's our program today. Thank you very much for being a part of it. A repeat will be coming up at midnight. If you missed any part of this, do watch, and also at 6 a.m. I'm Abosede Adeniro Aderemi. Bye for now.